In the long history of the United States of America, never has a female president been elected. There have been female candidates as recently as the previous presidential election, but none won the elections. In the quiet corridors of American history, few stories are as compelling as that of Edith Wilson. Her journey to power began not in politics, but in personal tragedy and resilience. Born in Wytheville, Virginia in 1872, Edith Bolling grew up in a world of fading Southern gentility. At the age of 24, she married Norman Galt, a prominent Washington, D.C. jeweler. Their life together was one of comfort and society prominence, but it was marked by profound sorrow. Their only child died shortly after birth, and after 12 years of marriage, Norman himself passed away unexpectedly in 1908, leaving Edith a young widow who had to take over the family jewelry business, an unusual role for a woman of her time. 7 years later, in March 1915, Edith's life would change forever when she was introduced to President Woodrow Wilson. The president was himself deep in mourning. His first wife, Ellen Axon Wilson, an accomplished artist and passionate advocate for Washington's slum dwellers, had died just 11 months earlier from Bright's disease. Wilson was devastated, describing himself as utterly broken by Ellen's passing. The connection between the grieving president and the independent widow was immediate and powerful. Their courtship was discreet but intense, conducted through private dinners and carriage rides through Washington's streets. Despite concerns from advisers about the timing so soon after Ellen's death and the upcoming presidential election, Wilson proposed within months, and they married in a quiet ceremony at Edith's home on December 18, 1915. As First Lady, Edith became more than a presidential spouse. She became Woodrow Wilson's essential partner. She sat in on meetings, reviewed state documents, and even helped decode sensitive diplomatic cables during the Great War. Her influence was both celebrated and criticized, but none could deny her complete devotion to the president. Then came the crisis that would define her legacy. In October 1919, during a punishing national tour to promote his League of Nations, President Wilson suffered a catastrophic stroke that left him partially paralyzed, blind in one eye, and mentally diminished. For the remainder of his term, 17 critical months, Edith Wilson became the gatekeeper of the presidency. She controlled all access to the incapacitated president, deciding which matters were important enough to bring to his attention. She reviewed documents, attended meetings in his place, and relayed decisions in her own handwriting. While she insisted she was merely a steward who never made decisions herself, critics accused her of effectively running a petticoat government that circumvented the constitutional order. After President Wilson's death in 1924, Edith devoted herself to protecting his legacy, overseeing his papers and memorials until her own death in 1961. She remains one of the most complex figures in presidential history and a highly controversial one, forever changing how America viewed the role of First Lady.